All right, now, as we reach the end of President Trump's first 100 days in his second term, the White House is boasting what it calls its success on cracking down on illegal immigration. Now, in what was a rare morning press briefing, border czar Tom Homan said, right now we have, quote, the most secure border in the history of this nation, end quote. Homan also addressed the removal of 3 young children who were deported on Friday, including one with cancer, despite them all being U.S. citizens.
This administration is doing the right thing. Every public safety threat we arrest from this country and move them, this country is much safer. So parents will make a decision what happens to their child. Having a U.S. citizen child does not make you immune from our laws.
All right, joining us now is CBS News White House reporter Olivia Rinaldi. Olivia, this is the message the White House wants out today, but help us understand what those signs behind you also demonstrate the single message this administration wants to focus on at the moment.
Yeah, good morning, Errol. It's good to be with you. This White House is gearing up for their 100th day in office. That is tomorrow, April 29th. And in lieu of that, to get prepared for that this morning when we arrived at the White House, you saw these signs behind us. And what they say are arrested, and then they say illegal alien. They show someone's mugshot, and underneath them you see a description of what they were arrested for. And Errol, the whole point of all of this, these dozens of signs that are lining the White House North Lawn right now, are to focus on immigration. This White House says they are in the first initial phases of what they're calling the largest deportation in American history. That is what Trump wants to accomplish. It's something he ran on. So today they're making sure that immigration is the top focus going into the first 100 days. That's something they want to point to as a success, saying, look, we have cracked down on this, we have cracked down on border crossings, and we are getting these deportations underway. But I do want to note a new CBS News poll that came out this weekend that talks about how Americans are perceiving how this White House is handling the immigration crisis in the United States. And I want to point out that about 49% of Americans say they approve of how Trump is handling this, and about 51% say they disapprove. So that's where we're at right now and how Americans are perceiving this White House specifically and how they're handling immigration.
Yeah, and the issue of due process is central to so many Americans, and that's why they're interpreting the immigration issue differently. And I want to ask you also about some executive orders on immigration that the president is expected to sign today. What do we know about that?
Yeah, we learned about this morning also in that briefing, 2 executive orders that are expected to be signed. The first is supposed to be on strengthening American law enforcement to pursue criminals and innocent citizens. The second is about sanctuary cities. And what this one does is direct the Attorney General and Secretary Noem, she's the head of the Department of Homeland Security, to publish a list of states and cities and local jurisdictions that obstruct law enforcement in carrying out these deportations. So as you know, sanctuary cities, we have seen them play out over the last 5 years or so. Those are, think about New York, cities in California that have said they're not going to cooperate with government officials to help enforce deportations. So now this White House is saying that that's going to be their focus today in strengthening the ability for the Attorney General and the Secretary of Homeland Security to target those cities and people within them to have these deportations.
All right, really interesting stuff there. Olivia Rinaldi with the latest from the White House for us. Thank you for that.